From 12 to about 14, I had terrible sleep. Every night I was blasting my eyes with blue light, eating right before bed, and generally just doing all the bad habits that ruin your sleep. I would lie awake at night wondering why I couldn't get the rest that I needed. In the last couple of years, I've literally gone from this sleep deprived, depressive state to now having probably top 1% sleep quality, waking up on time every day without an alarm, and falling asleep within 5 minutes of my head hitting the pillow. In this video, I'll teach you the 3 steps that I used to escape sleep debt and perform best in every aspect of my life. Over the last couple of years, I've tried every conceivable method for fixing your sleep, and a lot of them don't work. So here I'll show you the 3 that I think are really powerful, and then also kind of give you the ones that are a waste of time so you can avoid them. So I'm going to list a few symptoms to you, and think about which ones fit you, which ones you see in your own life. Number 1, you take naps of longer than an hour. Number 2, at about 11 a.m., 10 or 11, you feel like you could go back to sleep. Number 3, you sleep in on the weekends. And number 4, you use an alarm. Now, number 4 is especially telling. Almost all of the world uses an alarm on a daily basis, and it's just seen as something that's normal. But really, if you need an alarm to wake up on time, there's an issue there. That means you are not getting the right amount of sleep for you to be able to wake up naturally and refreshed. Is that just not insane to you? 95% of the world probably uses an alarm. That means that the basic function of getting enough sleep at night is now like a top 5% trait. How messed up is that? So in this video, that's the goal. We're trying to take you from that 95% of people who have to use an alarm every morning. They wake up to that annoying, traumatizing alarm that I've had for so many years. But I'll show you how to break free of that, how to get the sleep you actually need, and finally stay on top of it. So the first step I took was to eliminate. There are so many good habits that you could introduce into your sleep schedule, but really, a lot of them might not work for you, and the majority of them won't make a difference unless if you're already having a good baseline of health. Now, the majority of people do not have good baseline sleep, and so adding in good habits is not really going to make that big of a difference because they still have all these bad habits that are bringing their sleep level down. So the first thing that I did when I was trying to improve my sleep, trying to get out of sleep debt, was to eliminate the bad habits. So that's things like blue light at night, huge one and super common. I bought a pair of blue light glasses and tried to stay away from screens as much as possible in the evening. Things like eating right before bed really decreases your deep sleep and hurts your recovery. So I eliminated any food after 6:30 p.m. And also things like being very active in the evening and scrolling on your phone. All these things are very stimulating to your brain and make it hard for you to shut off. So trying to eliminate that was super, super helpful for me. It allowed me to shut off more. Having about an hour and a half wind down period before bed is a huge game changer. So when you start eliminating the bad habits, the overstimulation, the blue light, the food late at night, the caffeine in the evening, your sleep is naturally going to improve by quite a bit. It's a bit of a challenge to get to that level, but it's really the hardest part of the journey. Once you get out of the poor habits that are holding you back, everything else becomes easier. You gain momentum and you feel like you're ready to just conquer everything. Step 2 is routine. Now, once I had eliminated all the bad habits and really hit a good baseline level of sleep, building a routine around those habits was huge for me. So setting this standard that I would wake up at the same time every day and go to bed at the same time every day was huge for me. When your body is in that strong of a routine that you're hitting that 6 nights a week, 7 nights a week, your body just knows. It knows when to wake up, it knows when to go to bed, and it knows when to get you tired. So that is a huge part of being able to fall asleep quickly, is genuinely just your routine. Building that routine and that habit over time made it super easy for me to stay consistent with all these sleep habits. It's not even a question to me if I'm going to read by a red light for about 15 minutes before bed. I just do it every single night. It's not a question. It's not a question if I'm going to do my full oral care routine with like water pick, toothbrush, floss twice a day, do mouthwash and a tongue scraper. Like, it's just part of the routine. And so building this is huge. The biggest part of this, though, is the bedtime alarm. So a lot of people set alarms to wake up in the morning, but they don't set alarms to go to bed. So what I had to do for this long period of time was I had to set an alarm on my phone that would go off at 9 p.m. And when that phone alarm would go off, it would have that level of accountability for me that everyone in my house could hear it. And they knew that that was my bedtime alarm. They knew that that was me saying, I'm going to go to bed. And so if I stay up after that, they all know that I'm slacking. They all know that I'm missing my bedtime. And so it's just a whole nother level of accountability that will really help you get into bed at the same time every night. I have friends who will basically just go to bed whenever they feel like, and they have no set bedtime. So it ranges from like 10 p.m. to like 2 a.m. and then back to midnight and then back to 2 a.m. again. And I just find that insanely harmful to my own sleep. Whenever I have my bedtime moving around a lot, it really messes up the whole next couple of days. So in general, literally just having that high quality routine has such a huge impact on my quality of life that I can't even express it. Literally, my life gets probably 10 to 25% worse if I don't go to bed on time. And the focus is probably about half. If I go to bed at 11 instead of 9, it's like the whole next day feels like a wash because I don't have that focus on each specific task that I would have had if I'd gotten enough sleep. Last night, I got 8 hours and 45 minutes of sleep, and that was just huge. It's such a game changer when you're able to get high sleep volume that a lot of people can't get because their bodies are so used to that chronic undersleeping. They're not used to being able to get that high quality, long hours of sleep, which are super, super healthy for you. So I woke up today with energy. I woke up and made breakfast, meditated, got ready, and now I'm recording this video, and I feel absolutely focused. There's literally not a thought in my mind. I'm just in this video. It feels so strange, but it's really something that you need to understand. Like, when the sleep gets locked in, your whole life is much, much better. Now, I've heard a lot of people suggest that to reset your sleep, to get back to baseline, you should just pull an all-nighter. I'm going to tell you now, that is not the play. If you're watching this, you're probably between like 18 and 25. We have some older viewers up to like 35, and that's a little less relevant. But the younger guys, before your brain has stopped developing, pulling an all-nighter has insanely harmful effects. Even after 25, it is going to mess you up severely. Sleep deprivation, you have to realize, is almost as bad as being drunk. In some cases, it's worse. If you haven't slept at all at night, you are legally drunk in terms of the impairment to your cognitive ability. So if you go for an all-nighter to try and reset your sleep, there's a huge amount of risk associated with that. Not only is it going to affect your focus, your mood, and your brain function for the whole next couple of days, it's also going to put you at huge amount of risks for other accidents. If you pull an all-nighter, do not drive. Do not drive. Your odds of getting in an accident are significantly higher on an all-nighter. Beyond that, it will also start putting you in this cycle, this vicious cycle where you have to sleep deprive yourself more in order to get better. Really, what I want you to do is just allow yourself a full night of sleep. What I want you to do, instead of going all night without sleep and then you're going to be really, really tired, I just want you to force yourself to go to bed at the same time every night. And it doesn't matter if you actually fall asleep when you're in bed. Ideally, you just want to be getting in the routine of lying down, being in bed at the same time every night. So you might choose 10 p.m., set that alarm on your phone, and when it goes off, go right to bed, even if you're not tired. Read a book, do some meditation maybe, and get ready to just go to sleep. Because once you start doing that consistently, your whole quality of sleep will improve and your body will start getting used to going to bed at that same time, will then make you sleepy at 10 p.m. when you're ready to go to bed. Step 3 is consistency. So you've eliminated the bad habits and you've started this routine that is going to give you high quality sleep for the rest of your life. Once you start doing that same bedtime every night, you'll be able to naturally wake up at the correct time without even an alarm. And that's just a huge step into becoming somebody who has insanely high quality sleep, who is really functioning like a superhuman. Like, it is a powerful ability. But none of this video is worth anything if we don't have consistency behind it. Consistency is really the key to sleep, beyond the actual quality or beyond the volume of sleep. If you get 9 hours of sleep for a couple nights and then go back down to 5 hours of sleep, it's not going to make much of a difference. You need that 8 hours every single night for the rest of your life. And it's a daunting task to try and get that. I'm not saying that I go to bed at the exact same time every night. I go to bed probably 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week at the same time. Especially when I'm in routine, it will literally be 7 nights a week that I'm in bed consistently. And that might sound sad, but to me, that routine is insanely fun because my life just becomes great. It becomes amazing. And the consistency really, though, is about longevity. We want you to be able to keep these methods, these routines over years and years. I want you to be able to keep this sleep routine until you're 80 years old, till your grandchildren are around you and you can teach them this sleep routine because it is just that powerful. One tactic I use to keep my sleep on track is a habit tracker. So behind me, right over there, is a habit tracker where 9 p.m. bedtime is one of my habits. So every night, it just gives me that extra level of accountability that I want to be in bed at 9. And then when I look at it and I don't have it checked off, I feel bad because I know that I was supposed to be in bed at that time, that if I want to make progress towards my goals, that I had to do that. But if I miss it, it stays up there. I see those days where I didn't check it off. And that is just, it hurts. Like, it hurts. And so that is a huge part of it. Another thing you have to get really good at is literally just saying no. The majority of the world is sleep deprived. And so the majority of things that people do are going to make them sleep deprived. People hang out way too late at night. And it's so normal for people to be doing social things up until like midnight, 1 a.m. But really, we just need to kind of separate ourselves from that world if we want to accomplish great things. And so getting good at saying no is a huge factor. Saying no is hard, and it's something that you really have to practice. But once you start getting good at it, your life opens up so much more. I have what I call a yes card. So it's a little index card that has 10 yeses around the edge. And whenever I am going to say yes to like a function or an obligation, I'm going to go hang out with people or somebody's asking me to do something for them, I have to check off one of the yeses. And I get one card for every 2 weeks. So at the end of those 2 weeks, if I'm running out of yeses, if I've checked all 10 of them off, then, well, too bad. You can't do any more stuff. And so that's just a helpful reminder to help you get into the mindset that you need to be staying home. You need to be staying in that routine and focusing on what really matters. Focusing on the family, on your work, on your purpose and your fitness, and not necessarily on social functions that could be done earlier in the day. You really train people how to treat you. And so if you are saying yes to lots of things in the evening, it trains them that, oh yeah, Jacob will do things in the evening. But if you start saying, no, I need to be in bed at this time, people will stop inviting you to those things, or they'll move things earlier in the day so that you can be there if they're really like close friends with you. So that's kind of a test. If they will keep on being friends with you and try and accommodate for your goals and your mission, that's really a sign of like a true friend. And luckily, I have people who are really close friends of mine who will do that for me. And so I'm so grateful to have that, but a lot of people don't. But the biggest thing in consistency is just discipline. You need that mental strength to be able to go to bed at the same time every night, to be able to say no to the things that you want to do and say yes to the things that you need to do. Because at the end of the day, neglecting your sleep now will have harmful consequences for the entire rest of your life that you'll never, ever be able to get back. It's hard, and sometimes you'll feel like a social outcast, but that is just the reality of being somebody who wants to achieve things. And so if you don't want to get stuff done, if you don't want to achieve things, then it's fine for you to be sleep deprived, I guess. It's going to hurt your health and your mental performance for the rest of your life, and you will not achieve the goals that you want to get. But in reality, if you don't want that, that's fine. If you don't really have goals, like, it's okay. But if you do, it's super important. All right, bro, sleep well.